This week we have the story of Jacob at the Jabbok River. Now before we can go any further, I need to give you guys a little backstory. Jacob was the second-born son of Isaac, and Isaac was the son of Abraham. Now while Jacob's older brother Esau was the brute force of the family, he was strong, masculine, a good hunter, a good warrior. Jacob is the brains. He's sly, cunning, manipulative. If he is the protagonist of our story, it should be noted that he also comes with many character flaws. His cunningness convinced his older brother to sell him the birthright for a cup of stew, meaning upon their father's death, Jacob inherited everything. His manipulation tricked his elderly father on his deathbed to give him God's blessing that was reserved for his firstborn son, Esau. Essentially, Jacob stole everything from his older brother. And now we skip over a lot of years of stories and trials and prosperity for Jacob, all to come to this moment. Today, we find Jacob on the run with his brother Esau in pursuit. Jacob comes to the Jabbok River and sent his family across the river before him. And he decides that he is to stay there on the bank by himself one final night. And that's when it happens. Something comes from the darkness. Some claim it's a man, others say it's an angel, but I believe it was God himself that came down and began to wrestle with Jacob that night. They struggled throughout the dark. The struggle between the two continued, and Jacob could not overpower God, nor did God overtake Jacob. So in a last-ditch effort to win before the dawn, God struck Jacob in his hip, popping it out of socket, giving him a limp that he would carry for the rest of his life. And God demanded to Jacob to let him go. Yet in immense pain, even knowing that he had lost, Jacob said, "I will not let go until you bless me." And so God, in that moment, blessed Jacob. He renamed him Israel, the name given to God's chosen people, the name that wrestled with humans and God and against insurmountable odds, prevailed. You know, right now we are in a struggle. Right now we are wrestling. As a world, we are wrestling with a virus that is not to be understated. Beyond its scourge of sickness and death, its collateral damage is vast, disturbing the psyche of parents who struggle to work and raise and educate their children without familiar systems previously set in place to assist them, or children whose social outlets' feasibility is in question, or from business owners or employees who fear the loss of jobs through the long haul, or even others who are missing friendships that come from the many activities that have fleeted away, that have shut down in hopes that our absence from them might help us contain a virus that is continuing to rage out of control. As a country, we are wrestling further with racism, political division, with fear. As we sit isolated in our homes with our televisions and our screens now blaring more than ever, we see this fear mounting as we witness things which we do not understand happening in a country that feels less and less like the dream we understood it once to be. Without our ability to gather as a community and to listen to one another, to grow and to understand, we are instead spoon-fed fear and distrust by that screen that is taking over our lives. We are told that what we are wrestling with is an entity that betrays the very ideals for which we stand, and that we should do all in our power to suppress our opponent. We are told that we are wrestling with the devil, and the devil is to be defeated. You see, the interesting thing about our story today is that Jacob is not wrestling with the devil. His struggle is not with an enemy. His brawl isn't even with its brother. It is with God. And when in a struggle with God, you cannot simply let go. Jacob understood that when wrestling with things of immeasurable value, we hold on. Even if we can't win, we struggle, we learn, we grow. We do not release until we have received a blessing. And by that, I mean perhaps at the very least an understanding of our opponent. Because the truth is, what our faith demands is the belief that we are not, in fact, fighting with the devil. The opposition is not our enemy, but rather another human being with the image of God impressed upon their soul. And when confronted with God's created image, our baptism forces us to acknowledge dignity. So I choose to believe that they are good, even when their actions are ones which I do not understand. I choose to engage in wrestling with that which I find troubling. I choose to hold on so that I might come to understand their fear and that they might come to understand my hope. I choose these things. Because when we choose the struggle, like Jacob, we will not escape unscathed, but if wrestled right, we will be forever changed, forever reminded of what we fought for by that riverbank. We will bear the marks and the pains of our struggles, but just like Jacob, we will prevail together. Even as we wrestle through the season of pandemic, when we engage rather than shut down in the face of difficulty, we prevail. We are more creative, imaginative, hopeful, and these are the qualities that will help us make it through and flourish. This is what the world does not understand, but I invite you to teach it to them, that we prevail when we engage the struggle. We learn, we grow, we are resourceful and stronger through our struggles when we are together. That is the story of Jacob at the Jabbok River. I love you. God bless you. And goodbye for now.